G'day everyone and welcome back to the Ads and Dunks podcast, exclusively brought to you by the Ausmerican Aces. We're your hosts, obviously Josh Dunkley here. We've flipped it over this week. Adsy's joining me over in Perth. How are you, Adsy?
I'm well, mates. It's nice little change up you doing the intro. It's been sick and tired of hearing my voice the first couple episodes. Well done, mate. Good job.
Thanks, mate. We've got plenty to talk about. Obviously, a big week of games over in South Australia, the Gather Round, and I thought it was pretty cool to see you over there as well. We actually stayed in the same hotel, which was a bit ironic. Talk us through your experience, mate, and how you went.
Yeah, it was a really cool concept. I feel like it's going to be something that's pretty successful going forward. Clearly, the South Australia get it for the next few years. It was pretty cool being able to see, heaps of AFL players just walking around. We've seen a couple of Geelong boys, a couple of Collingwood boys we've seen as well. Obviously, you spoke about you staying there, which is quite funny. Like old days, we sat down and watched the game, the night before. I had my peanut butter on my rolls or whatever it was. You laugh about all the time. But no, it was a good weekend. We were able to get out to obviously across the road to where the festival was, and we did a clinic down there. Obviously played the game as well. I was trying to run into you at your clinic, which is just up from us, because it would have been pretty cool to see each other there, but obviously didn't. But no, it was a really, I guess, in terms of rounds and what the AFL were achieving, I feel like it's something that's going to be big going forward, and something that's cool to be a part of. The game itself obviously wasn't ideal for us. It was, we've played 2 weeks in a row now in torrential rain pretty much, and not that should impact the result of the game, because I felt like we were in it for most of the game. I think we were up by 2 goals with about 10, 15 minutes to go, and we really battled in that last 15 minutes, which is really disappointing, because we put ourselves in a really good position. But kudos to Port Adelaide. They really brought the heat, and especially when the game was on the line, they brought the heat quite a bit. And they're a hard team to beat over there. We spoke about that last week, where you guys played them obviously last week, and in round one, and they obviously done a really good job on you guys. So yeah, they were really good, really, really, really strong side. They're going to be good, come the pointy end of the season. There's plenty of learnings from our game, great opportunities to keep improving, especially with ball in hand. But something that we love is that we get a weekly opportunity. It's a 6-day turnaround for us, as you touched on just before. We're here in Perth, obviously playing Freo on the Friday. So looking forward to that game now. We've moved on from the Port game, and really looking forward to that one. What about yourself, mate? I know I was able to watch a bit of your game. It started off really slowly for you guys, but you're able to obviously win pretty convincingly in the end.
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit disappointing at the start. We obviously know that, we talked about it last week, I reckon, when we were touching on North Melbourne, but they bring the heat. We know that they're a good team, and Clarko's done a great job already since he's been there at the helm. So, we expected their best, and they got the bit of a jump on us early, and unfortunately we couldn't really stem that flow. But then as soon as we started to defend well, it turned for us, and very similar to the Pies, I think, North, the way that they play. They've got that, obviously, like Sheasel sort of plays like Dacos. They like to have the ball in his hands, and they like to, chain it out of their back half. So if you can defend them well enough and come forward at them and put the pressure on, then you can get some goals going the other way. So that's what we found helped us a lot. And then, obviously winning the ball at the source was important for us too. So getting the clearances and the contested ball in our favour was a nice one. So it ended up being a pretty nice win for us out in Mount Barker. But, mate, I couldn't speak any higher of the deck and the way that it was all ran out there, to be honest. Like, it was an unbelievable ground. The fans turned up. It rained, before the game, torrential rain before the game, and then post-game as well. It poured down, but during the game it was pretty good. So very lucky.
No rain? You caught no rain at all?
No rain at all, mate. It was maybe a little bit of drizzle at the start, but completely, no rain at all. It was amazing. And we're all expecting screw-ins and all this kind of stuff. None of that. So we were very lucky, but it was good to get the win, get the 4 points. Those games are ones you just want to tick off and move on. And we look forward to this week now, obviously playing the Giants. But what did you guys? You just did that activation site on the Sunday, didn't you? For your
So we off Saturday, and then we went obviously down to the I think it was the Macca's kick to kick, which is really cool.
Yep.
Met several different footy fans, which is pretty cool. I still find it funny that I'm signing, Collingwood jerseys in my old number, and signing a couple of GW's Giants jerseys, actually. It'd be rude of me not to mention this, but we're obviously one of our good friends, Will Schofield, does his great podcast, The Back Chat, here over in Perth. He's been kind enough to let us use his great facility here. So hence why my background is a little bit different. There is a Bulldogs jersey right there that you actually can't see, but there's an old school West Coast one. But cheers to Scoey. He's a beauty for letting us use this. And I know that you're on his potty last year, so I've just done a little a little guest appearance on it. So make sure our Ads and Dunks fans have a listen. But it was funny that I was signing some Giants jerseys and some Collingwood jerseys.
What about I had a lady come up to me, a Pie supporter, and she's got your number 7 on her back, and she's like, I need your signature next to Adam's here. So I signed it and put it next to yours. It was pretty funny. First time I've signed a Collingwood jumper, mate.
No, she come running over to me and she said, "Oh, you got to sign this for me." And I seen her your jersey was because you apparently said, "Oh, that's Adsy's one. I'm going to sign it underneath it."
Yeah,
but no, that was quite funny. Yeah, it's funny that I still, so even when you get the playing cards, I see playing cards, and sometimes accidentally I'll sign like a Giants playing card, and I do the number 1 on it, and I'm like, oh, geez, it wasn't number 1, it was number 17 back then.
I did that on Sunday, but we actually did our appearances and stuff with the community on the Friday. So we had captain's run out in Mount Barker, and then we all sort of split off there to go in different groups to do different things. But I went to the Monado Safari Park, so I got to
that's right.
I got to feed a lion like in a cage. It was pretty sick. It was unbelievable, actually. So you drive out on a bus, you go to the safari park and the administration and stuff like that, and then you get on a bus and they take you through all these gates. There's 3 gates that you got to go through with massive fences, so the lions obviously can't get out, and they have several different animals there, but we were there for the lion experience, and I think they call it the Lion 360 experience. And got to feed the lions and watch them all come up to us and jump all over the cage around us. It was actually insane.
And that was one of your appearances?
That was my appearance for the day.
That's
so literally, I think it was about an hour's drive, hour and a half drive from Adelaide. So it was a fair hike, but awesome experience, and highly recommend it to anyone that's hanging around SA. Maybe if next year when you go down there for gather round to watch us play, get out there and give it a go.
Well, you're a little bit. I know you mentioned how the oval was in pristine condition. Where you're a little bit flat, you weren't playing at Adelaide Oval. I know you said it. I know we mentioned it last week, but you seen a couple of the atmospheres for some of the games. Would have been pretty cool to play there.
Yeah, it would have been cool to play at Adelaide Oval. Obviously, Adelaide Oval is one of the best grounds in the AFL, I think. Personally, you probably say the same. And historically, we've played at the Doggies. We played pretty well there, so it was always nice to go down there. We obviously played there in round 1, and Port touched us up a little bit, but it would have been nice. But I also appreciate the community feel, and sort of took me back to the Ballarat days, mate, when we used to travel down there and play at Ballarat together. And it was a little bit colder in Ballarat. Yeah, well, true. But it is a little bit colder in Ballarat than what it was on the weekend in Mount Barker.
Yeah, no, it did look good. The Oval looked really good. Obviously watched the game, and they looked like they looked after it really well. Obviously the groundskeepers, which is really good. I think that was maybe a little bit of a worry when obviously that was scheduled for Adelaide, but I think they nailed it, absolutely nailed it, and it's pretty cool that it gets to be played there now for the next 3 years. If it wasn't going to be played in Adelaide, what do you think would be cool outside of Victoria? Which one would you choose? Which state would you choose?
Biasly, I'm going to say Queensland, but I think any other state, obviously WA would be really good. Their supporters over there, really passionate with footy and all that kind of stuff. So it would be pretty good over there, I would think. And then as a growth point of view, obviously New South Wales and Queensland are the other two that would be up there as well.
I think WA, I think it'd be cool. As you said, the fans, we kind of experienced it a little bit, when we were in that finals hub and throughout that, prelim to the grand final, we experienced, the engagement that the fans have with you, and I think it'd be sick. I think they'd love it. And maybe it's just because I'm in the Perth area at the moment, and I'm loving it here at the moment. But I feel like it'd be pretty cool. it'd be pretty cool if it was played there in a few years' time. But yeah, I feel like it was a massive tick for the gather round. But moving on from that, we obviously there was some big games on the weekend, and and some big moments. And a moment we want to touch on is the last couple of minutes of Harry Himmelberg. Did you see his absolute hanger and then his game-saving play on the end?
Yeah, I did. I was watching that game and I was like, Giants are going to win easily. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hang on a second. They're not going to win. And then all of a sudden they're up and he takes that mark and touches it on the line to get him the 4 points. But yeah, it was a good game of footy. Did you watch it all?
Yeah, I seen the last bit. And it'd be right up there as in terms of an impact from an AFL like point of view. Probably the most clutchest 2 minutes of a last game you've seen. He's kicked the winning goal, and then he's saved it, and then he saved the opposition winning goal.
Yeah. What about? We didn't really talk about it last week, but Alir, that was similar on the line against the Swans, like similar type thing.
Oh yeah. Well, that's probably another clutch moment too. I mean, you feel sorry for Ollie Florent because from the angle that we all seen, it looked like it was going in, but yeah, it's pretty clutch by Alir to be able to save that. But no, that was incredible by Harry Himmelberg. He always does good things like that. He always takes absolute hangers. I remember the hanger he took it. I think it was against the Bombers maybe at the Giants Stadium. Unbelievable.
What about? I was thinking about like other games or moments over the years. Do you remember when, speaking of Adelaide, when Luke Shuey kicked that goal after the siren in that final to get West Coast through? Do you remember that?
Oh, of course I do. I was in New Zealand. I was on holiday with Kimmy, and that was the Port West Coast elimination final. It was the one where Shuey got the free kick and controversial free kick. It was a free kick, but that little trick that he does, which we fall for. I've fallen for that plenty of times. Yeah. Toby McLean is another one.
Toby McLean special.
One of my teammates. Toby McLean special. But I remember that goal. I said to you, I reckon I've said on this potty that Luke Shuey is one of the, probably if not the most clutch player in the game. Some of the goals that he's kicked and after the siren, unbelievable. And not just like sneak these goals in. These are genuine, straight through the middle. Goal umpire doesn't move.
Yep.
Unbelievable moment. Absolute gun. But yeah, that's probably one of the clutch moments. I think another one I think of is Leo Barry. Remember Leo Barry's mark?
Yep. I was a Swan supporter then, mate.
I mean, it's funny if you actually rewatch that moment. You watch it in slow-mo and some of the guys jumping into the pack. Do yourself a favour and watch. I think it might be Eamon Buchanan. He tries to cannon into the contest. He doesn't he's nowhere near the ball. He just tries to take out the players that are in it so the ball can come to ground, which is pretty funny. But Harry Himmelberg's moment is one of those clutch moments for the round, I reckon. What about a talking point that's been spoken about, probably quite often this year, but none more now than the sling tackle. There's been obviously a couple of players that have been cited and some that may potentially miss, but what's your mindset? Because obviously, you're the tackler out of us two. You lay the more tackles than what I do, but that's for sure. But what's your mindset when you go into it? Because gone are the days of being able to, I guess, follow through with the tackle and tackle the guy to the ground. How do you kind of approach that?
Yeah, it's a tough one because when you're in the moment, you're not really thinking about technique. Well, you do have the technique that you practice at training, but I don't really ever get myself into a position where I'm pinning the arm. I think that's a big one. If we can maybe not pin arms, just one single arm and then carry that momentum through. It's more of an aggression thing rather than just actually tackling. I feel like some guys maybe when you get in that moment, you might be angry or whatever's happening, whatever's going through your mind. What happened at the last contest type of thing. I feel like it's just probably more of an aggression thing than it is a technique thing. So for me, it's obviously a massive talking point, but I feel like we do have to look after our fellow players and everyone out there. So to make the game safer, it is not a bad thing to try and stamp it out of the game because it's duty of care and we want everyone to live long and happy lives after or post career. So we've got to look after that kind of stuff. But yeah, for me, it's just a simple thing. What about you?
Yeah, no. I think you're right. I think the duty of care is obviously a priority, and the play you've seen obviously with players that have been affected. Obviously, Paddy McCartan, who's a player that is an absolute star, and you just feel for him because of the issues that he's had and the struggles that he's had. I've played with players that have really struggled with concussion, so you totally understand it and get it, and I can also see the frustration from a player's point of view because what would have been a great tackle 5 or 10 years ago now is considered something that you get potentially miss a game for. But I don't mind that. I don't mind that the duty of care now is there for the player because I think that should be the priority. And I think you can still have an effective tackle with, I guess, without injuring the person or slamming the guy's head into the ground. So I feel like it's going to be a bit of a grey area for a little bit, because there's a lot of inconsistencies. But it's something that I think the players now, well, especially I do, and I know you do, we're starting to understand it a lot more and, understand the way we probably should be tackling and, as you said, duty of care for the player and looking after the player that you're tackling. But, it's one that one where got no doubt throughout the year there's going to be some more coming up.
I feel like or you can control that second action. Do you know what I mean? Like you might be standing there, like you tackle someone, but then if you've got an arm pinned, then you just can't dump them into the ground. Like I reckon we can control that as players. So it'll be interesting to see how it all transpires. I think Tom Green's actually missing this week. He's accepted his one match ban from the Giants. So it's probably not a bad thing for us going down there to play him in Canberra because he's one of their mainstay mids who's very physical and has been going well this year. So, it's obviously disappointing for him, but hopefully we can go down there and get the win. It'd be nice.
Any teams or anything surprise you? I mean, is there a team that you think, wow, like they're flying at the moment? Surprise you maybe or?
Yeah, I watched a bit of the Thursday night game, the Crows versus the Blues, and the Crows look really good. They look really good,
don't they?
I thought. Yeah, they their pressure and their outnumber runs, like some of their outnumbering around the ground was insane. And obviously Carlton have a great number of players that can cover the ground really well, and even their midfield, I think. They went on record after the game and said that they were really disappointed with their efforts and stuff like that. So, Crows look really good, I thought, that over the weekend. What about you?
Well, I'll back that up. I think the Crows have right now the informed forward line of the competition. Their forward line's that scary. They've got some really good players down there. There's a lot of good forward lines out there, but they're clicking and flying at the moment. As you can tell, because there was a lot of up and about South Australian fans over the weekend because both teams obviously won. I think the Bombers, I think they've been a lot better than a lot of people thought. They're playing a really exciting brand of footy. I mean, they're moving the ball really well. It's funny because these teams, the teams that are playing well, some of them have new coaches come in. You can see it's like a breath of fresh air for the players, and they're back to playing the way that they want to play. And the Bombers, as I said, they just look free and playing with a freedom. And they really took it up to Melbourne, who are going to be right up there come the pointy end of the season and have been one of the benchmark teams of the competition. So they look good, and we were watching a bit of their game from the sideline because we were playing after them, and they look so good. The way they were able to move the ball, as I said, really aggressively and freely. And when they've got players like, their midfielders, Darcy Parish and Zach Merritt playing and having the influence they are, their ruckman, Sam Draper's, growing into one of the best ruckmen in the competition. If not, he's already right up there with Tim English and Maxi Gawn and Brodie Grundy. So, they were probably a team that, it didn't surprise me, but now I'm starting to understand, they're going to be really good.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, mate. They've obviously turned it on. I feel like it's going to be a very even. We probably talked about it at the start of the year, but even competition. Like it's going to be very close at the pointy end of the year. So every win you can get and bank is really important. So hopefully we can get both of us moving forward, mate. It'd be nice.
What about Nick Dacos? I mean, his name always gets brought up on our potty because he's a star. I mean, people out there were saying he's not really. I don't even know what they were saying. I just would see that people would anyone would try and find anything to bring players down. His game on the weekend was probably the best game I've seen him, and he's played already unbelievable games in his 2-year career, or less than 2 years, a year and a quarter. Do you reckon he's probably winning the Brownlow? And do you reckon teams probably should start tagging him?
First question. Yeah, I do think he's probably winning the Brownlow. Like, he's obviously talked about a lot and be at front of the mind for the umpires. So if he's having over 40 touches a game, then there's not many other players that can or would have that much of the footy. So he's obviously right there in front of him. So, yeah, I probably do think he's winning the Brownlow. He probably got 3 against us too, to be honest, when we beat him last week.
There's a difference between having the ball 40 times and surging it or hack kicking it or getting little, 1-2 handballs, whatever it is. But most of his touches are that impactful. It's always, he's always slicing someone up with a kick or whatever it may be. I feel like you're going to have to start sending someone to him, because we've seen in the first preseason game, well, the only preseason game, Collingwood played Hawthorn, and they tagged him. And, you could see the impact that they had on the game. Since then, no one's tagged him, and he's freaking dominated.
He was he was playing mid in that game, wasn't he?
I think he was floating between, mid, wing, bit of halfback.
Yeah, because I feel like now he's playing majority halfback, and they use him a lot. Like he's their number one player that they go to every single time. So every time someone takes a mark, he's wrapping around or he's getting the ball, because he does have really good skills. I feel like he does have really good skills.
Right up there as the best in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, so he's obviously dominating and getting plenty of the ball. I feel like I personally, that's why I probably would say that I wouldn't tag him, is because I feel like you can put work into him pre him getting the ball, or when he does get the ball, to sort of make it not as impactful. Like if he's just allowed to roam around and do what he wants, then yes, he's going to cut you up. But if you actually put pressure on him, then maybe that can help. Obviously not putting a full tag into him, but put the pressure on him to then maybe turn it over or not make that right decision that he might make when there's no pressure there.
Either way, mate, he's flying. He is absolutely dominating. What about the last couple of weeks we've done the mids and the forwards, and I told you that you got to give me a start, bench, defenders. And a cut 3 defenders, 3 best defenders in the league.
Okay, so I think one of the best defenders in the league is in my team, Harris Andrews. I reckon he's one of them.
Well, there you go. That's your pick. There's one.
Who else have I got? Throw a name up there.
Jacob Wiedering. There's Darcy
I was
Moore.
going to say Jake Lever. I feel like the way that he reads the play and he's very impactful. Can come across and help. Can use the footy really well. So he's another one that I'll use. And who do I say? I would have said one of the McCartan boys, to be honest. Like, I feel like their impact.
Well, say one.
Well, Paddy's obviously out at the moment, but I would say one of the McCartan boys. So let's just say they're both one. So I'm going to start Harris Andrews. I'm going to cut Jakey Lever and bench one of the McCartan boys.
Not bad.
Your turn.
Not bad. I would start Darcy Moore.
Yep.
I think, his ability to impact, like both in the air, and he's a very good ground level player considering his size. I reckon I would bench Jacob Wiedering. I just think he's just rock solid, very rock solid. And my cut would be Harry Andrews. So they're my top 3, though.
All right,
so they would be my 3. But there's a lot of good defenders out there, and they're key defenders. So next week we'll do the high half backs that they get bulk pill and are really just there for a starting position.
Yeah,
and then you just roam free after that.
Yeah. Shake hands with your opponent and then run away.
Yeah, exactly. But you touched on a little bit before, but you said you're obviously excited about this week. You're playing the Giants down in Canberra, and it is the Anzac round, which is extremely exciting. We love playing Anzac round. When do you guys head down there? When are you going? And talk us through what you think, what you're feeling. The Giants are playing some good footy. how you guys go down in Canberra. Talk us how you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you touched on, we're going down there. We head down there Friday morning, so I think we're going to do a captain's run down there. Fairly sure the weather's going to be pretty good. We're playing, as at the Dogs, we'd always play at night, so it's actually a fun fact. Last time I played in Canberra was when I did my shoulder. Remember that?
That's right. I remember that. Yeah, I remember we went on like the 4K hike the day of the game. You made me walk for like
the day of the game,
4Ks.
Yeah, because we
went
to the Shrine of Remembrance, mate. It was a good moment. I thought that was very nice. We actually saw I think there's a road there named after you, wasn't it? Treloar Street or something?
Oh, it was not named after me, but I'd like to think it is, but it's not. There's a Treloar Street, but it's not Treloar Street after me.
But no, we are. We're heading down there Friday, so captain's run down there, and then looking forward to playing against the Giants. I feel like they've obviously got the win last week against the Hawks, but all their games this year, they've been very competitive and they haven't been blown out. They haven't lost games by, a big margin. It's always been close if they have lost, and they've won some pretty good games as well. So expecting their best, and obviously got some great talent on their list still and in their team. So as I touched on, Tom Green obviously being out is a big one, but I know that obviously I think they're talking about Harry Perryman maybe coming back in, so he'll obviously fill that void and potentially lock one of our mids down, but who knows? We just got to expect their best and really bring the pressure and hunt like we did last week against North, because I feel like if we can do that, then we can get our forwards in the game and our high defenders can read the play off that and obviously take some intercept marks. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think it's 4:35 or something on Saturday, so I'll be able to watch your game on Friday night, mates, and hopefully you guys get the win, because that means we're going to get the win. So I'll be cheering you.
Yeah, I hope so.
What about yours, mate? Your Friday night over in Perth. Tell us about the build up. You're over there now, as we touched on earlier, but tell us about what you've done and how the week looks, and obviously leading into the game.
Yeah, we played on Saturday, and then we had a couple of appearances on the Sunday for gather round, and then we headed here yesterday. Got in here yesterday arvo and had a bit of a kick and a catch out at the park, at the footy oval, and did a bit of recovery and weights and whatnot. The whole point of it is obviously, there's no point really going back to Melbourne and then having to leave a day or so later. So, and also getting the group together, and what it's like being at a footy club. You like travelling away together and building a bit of camaraderie on the road, and especially after the back of what was a tough loss for us. It's nice being around the guys and finding some extra motivation around each other and spending a day off together, and being in a different state, not knowing anyone. It's kind of nice to be able to be around each other. Obviously have a main session tomorrow, and the boys are really keen and ready to really attack this game the way we have the last few weeks. I feel like Cody Waitman coming back into our side added extra spark, and he looked really good up there. There was a funny moment that happened with him on screen. Yeah, where he's wearing a loose jocks, which is quite funny. But he's been going around bragging about that. But that was quite funny. I'm sure he'll be wearing skins this week. But in all seriousness, he added a bit of spunk for us up forward, and something that we'd been missing a little bit up forward. And I feel like yes, we lost on the weekend, but there was some great moments in the game, and we still defended really well, which is what we're priding ourselves on, being able to defend really well, making it hard for teams to score. But on the flip side, we want to be able to be aggressive with our own ball movement and go forward and really challenge opposition defences. And fingers crossed we get no rain here, which I don't think we hear which I don't think we will get here in beautiful Perth. It's been beautiful conditions today, and it looks really nice going forward. So hopefully we'll get the ball zinging around a bit and play some good footy and an attacking brand of footy, because we're going to be coming up against a very hostile crowd. We played in that elimination final last year where we've both spoken about how it was. For me, it's right up there as top three largest crowds I've ever played in front of. Couldn't hear each other out there, and obviously being a final, but we know it's going to be hostile. And off the back of a 3-0 win this past week, they're going to be up and about. So we love being able to travel and do that. So we're going to look forward to playing on a Friday night, which is a prime prime time slot, but putting our best foot forward and hopefully getting the job done. Just really looking forward to it. But it's been nice being here and just being able to relax a bit and had a day off today. So, Tio and I wandered around the city a bit. He went and bought his missus a nice little Apple Watch, which is nice of him. But it was. It's been a nice little build up. Looking forward to the game.
You getting in a nice little tan over there, or what? I saw you in the shorts.
No. I try and avoid the sun for now. I think from now till about October, I try and avoid the sun because what's the point? Because even if I do get a bit of a tan, go back to Melbourne, you're just going to go white again because it's just always cold there and rainy. So it doesn't really matter. But no, it's nice to have a bit of sun here.
That's good. That's good. Are you going to hit up any of the hot spots that we went to over the years?
I was thinking about calling the Dunkley clan over here. I know a couple of times we've been over here. We've caught up with your family, and
I was going to say I should ask them if they're going to your game. They should come and support you.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, they should. No, but I think by the time the game's done, I'll be raring to get home. Got to get home to the dogs, Griffin and Sonny. Got to get home and see them. Would have been away from the house for a couple of weeks. So, what about you? There'd be some bustling Canberra hotspots there. You'd be getting to, yeah.
I can't remember what coffee shop we went to last time we were there. I think there's one just down the road, but
I don't remember.
I've actually got a couple of my family members going, so a couple of my uncles and might be going as well. So yeah, looking forward to obviously seeing them pre or post game. Not too sure yet, but yeah, looking forward to this week, mate. Obviously, as you touched on, it'd be nice to get a couple of wins for the both of us. But we'll move on. First round of the NBA Finals. Let's talk about that. Lots happened. I'm pretty keen to hear your thoughts.
The NBA playoffs. It's very amateur wording by you. NBA Finals is a difference. There's playoffs and the finals.
Sorry, mate.
Clearly show I'm the NBA fan and the NFL fan, but no, it's been a good day. After our game on the weekend, as you know, night games don't usually sleep. I never sleep after night games. So the first game was actually at 2:30. So I stayed up and watched the first half, which was Brooklyn v Philly. The first round's always there's always a couple of matchups where they're not really that realistic of being close, and I feel like we've seen that a bit with the Philly and Brooklyn series. They're 2-0 up now, but it's exciting because the last 2 weeks, as we touched on with the NBA, it's boring because players that people haven't heard of are playing. Players are playing for roster spots. It's just boring brand of basketball. Where now it's really cool. I think what's been sick is being able to see the Kings play. The Kings, they're now currently 2-0. They've gone 2-0 up against the Golden State Warriors, and the atmosphere in Sacramento looks unbelievable. And we've got a couple of diehard Kings fans here in Crosby and Tommy Liberatore. They love their Kings boys. So it's we got a couple of boys that are up and about here. So it's been good.
Yeah, it's been good. What are your thoughts on the Lakers matchup? I feel like they're going to get it done.
Yeah, I think now with Ja Morant, he's obviously now hurt his hand and he's out. And Memphis haven't been playing that well. A lot of their wins came from earlier on in the season. And then obviously with the Ja Morant stuff, they kind of were on and off and, weren't playing that well. Dylan Brooks is just can't deal with him. Actually can't deal with him, Dylan Brooks. I think LeBron and the Lakers will win that series, which is good because, I've said that they won't win the first series. So I'm eating my words a little bit here, and I think watching that first game, I think they'll win. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But I think they'll win.
So do you reckon the Kings are going to get through instead of the Warriors, or do you reckon we'll get the LeBron and Curry matchup?
Steph's never been down 2-0. So in his whole playoff series, he's never been down 2-0 and come back and won. So I can't see that being broken. I mean, the Kings are flying. I feel like they match up really well against the Warriors. And Draymond Green and Klay Thompson aren't the Draymond Green and the Klay Thompson of old.
I feel like now that you've said that Steph Curry will just come out and do something that he's never done before.
Yeah, anything I ever do is jinxed. Anything. Anything I ever do, the opposite happens. If you're a betting man, you do not bet with me because, it just won't happen.
What home game would you want to experience right now or tomorrow? So we're just looking at the games that are going on now.
I think right now watching the Kings, just probably because their fans haven't seen it in 18 years' time. That's probably the reason why. What do you think?
Yeah, there is something about that, isn't there? Like if you haven't been there for a long period of time, it's sort of like what I know Carlton didn't make the finals last year, but Carlton supporters last year were very up and about pre-finals about potentially making it, and they were just going nuts. Even Collingwood, last year when they got through the prelim, just going off their head. So, yeah, the Kings, I'd probably pick the Kings too. It just looks like a sick atmosphere, and they're playing, obviously, Golden State, who are reigning champs. So
it was polar opposite to the Milwaukee Bucks. If you watch that game, which I don't know if you did, it looked like just a normal regular season game. And they obviously lost. I mean, Miami have a bit of momentum going in because they haven't missed anywhere. The Bucks have missed, a week of basketball because of the play-in tournament. But if Giannis is, which, he looked pretty sore. Oh, honestly, wouldn't surprise me if Miami can, I don't know, maybe go to 7, first v 8th, which is, you don't see that. I don't think it's only ever happened twice, maybe. But it'd be unbelievable if they did. And with Jimmy Butler playing the way he is and Bam Adebayo being, the defensive weapon he is, it wouldn't surprise me, which I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. What about, we've spoken about this guy a little bit on here, Austin Reeves.
Oh, I think I'm eating my words a little bit again because he had that breakout game a few weeks ago and I said, he won't keep playing the way he is.
Yeah, he did.
But, Austin Reeves has been a massive part of the reason why they're winning games. He's just another scorer that they need. He's been unreal. The Lakers, for the first time in 2 years, they've actually clicked at the right time. It looks like they're clicking and they could, as you said, beat Memphis, and then who knows? Who freaking knows?
That's what I was about to say. I feel like they've put all the pieces together of the puzzle, and mate, it'd be pretty crazy to see him go deep into this playoff series. That'd be awesome. Not only for Lakers, but NBA in general. It'd be sick to see LeBron back in there and dominating.
Well, they've got a good side of the matchup too. If they win, they play the winner of third and sixth, which is the Kings. So the Kings, are potentially going to be who LeBron and the Lakers play, and I'd be more than comfortable to back the Lakers to beat the Kings. So there's a bit to play out. We have plenty to talk about next week, the NBA with our episode next week, mate. I'm still just counting down for the NFL. Would you laugh if I told you I did another NFL fantasy draft this past week, and the NFL draft hasn't even happened?
No, when is that draft happening?
The draft, I think, is in less than 2 weeks. Actually, the actual draft, which is, don't really care about the defensive linemen or the offensive linemen. Just want to see where the skilled players go, so I can manipulate my drafts.
You would have done your full list management on every single player that's potentially going to get drafted, just in case you want to pick them up in your fantasy team.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Where they're getting drafted, yep. Which club they're going to, which quarterbacks where. We spoke about OBJ going to the Ravens, which changes absolutely nothing for me because I don't think he's going to be a fantasy option. I did my 8 teams last year. I only won one of them, so I need to prepare a little bit more to hopefully win at least another one.
Fair enough.
We're excited about that. But what about the netball? You obviously were in Adelaide, and Tipsy played, and she actually won she was the best. What is it they call it? The MVP.
Yeah, Tip has been going really well. I think it's her second MVP for the year out of 5 games. So it was pretty cool to go there and watch her on Saturday night in Adelaide. Obviously, we played Saturday lunchtime, midday, which is a weird time slot actually, 12:20 or 30 or whatever it was. Never played that time before outside of like under 16s or under 18s. But yeah, it was good to be able to go and watch Tip put on a show, and obviously went there with a couple of her friends and families and stuff like that. So it was nice to catch up with everyone. But they beat the Melbourne Vixens, who have been flying over the last few years. And I think they won by about 11 or 12. So very impressive performance from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. And then obviously Kimmy and Lara played on Sunday against the Fever. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, before we go to that one, what about Tipsy getting a footy injury? Now she knows how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She got a corky and then ran into the wall or something.
She's had a collision with Joe Weston, then ran into the signage on the side of the what do you call it? The LED signage, and she split her knee open 4 stitches, and she was in tears.
She's used to putting her arm around you and making sure you're okay. You have to swap roles.
Yeah, we did. I looked after her on Saturday night, mate, and Sunday before I left, drove her around everywhere and made sure she was okay. So still have a FaceTime, giving her a few tips here and there, which is nice.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, we obviously mentioned the Firebirds game. It's just been kind of the tale of the season at the moment. They're always in the game and then don't end up winning. Obviously played Fever, who, as you mentioned with the Vixens, Fever are always one of the best two teams. And I think we outscored them like by 8 or 9 in the second half and ended up losing by 2 points. I guess you take that as a positive and move forward with Kimmy. But as you know, mate, you just support them. And, Kimmy wears her heart on her sleeve and gets frustrated as anyone. If she's with me, she's definitely someone who gets frustrated because I get frustrated. She's the exact same. So you can imagine the phone calls we have, when I don't win and she doesn't win, or the lack of phone calls.
Just don't talk.
Hopefully, yeah, exactly. But they've got a home game this week. Hopefully, they can chalk up their first win. But I look forward to seeing her play. She, as long as she's happy, mate, she's fit and healthy, which she is. It's still a pleasure to watch her play.
No, I think the Firebirds have been thereabouts for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So it's going to happen soon. And once they get the first one, I feel like they'll be fine for the rest of the year. It's just a matter of putting it all together because their second halves have been elite over the last 3 weeks.
And Kimmy played a bit of wing defense, which was really cool. She you don't usually see her there. She played a wing D, and I think she was really good in that role. I mean, I'm no netball expert, but she looked really good there. Macy went and played centre, and she was flying as well. And obviously Lazi at wing attack, which was good. But we're riding the waves at the moment with the Netty girls. Your girls are winning, and my one's not at the moment. So hopefully they can both chalk up some wins. No other update on anything before we move to the questions?
No, not really. Not really, I don't think, unless you've got something, mate, that you want to talk about.
Nah, hasn't been any wrestling or there's no F1 or anything at the moment, so there's not really much anything to talk about. We'll go to the questions that you love doing, and then we'll finish up.
I've got the questions here. So we've got Dill Schmidt 05 for both of you. What was your welcome to the AFL moment? Who did you admire as an 18-year-old? So my welcome to the AFL moment was round 1 when I debuted in 2016. I lined up on Nat Fyfe at my first centre bounce ever in the AFL. And I think he won the Brownlow the year before because I was like looking at him, I was like admiring him. And then all of a sudden, like went to body him up and he just like threw me out of the way, got the centre clearance, tapped down, literally ran inside 50. And I think he missed, but that was my welcome to the AFL moment. And if I was going to say who do I admire as an 18-year-old, it'd probably be him.
Yeah, right. That's a good one. He was in his prime. And, I mean, he's still playing and his best is unreal, but in his prime, he's right up there as one of the greatest players I've seen. I think there's a lot of moments. Yeah, one that really sticks out to me was early in my first season. It was about round 16, so it was my first season. It was probably my 10th or so game. I actually had a role on Paddy Dangerfield. He was playing for Adelaide at the time, and Choco Williams made each, like a lot of us players, so myself, Dylan Shield, Toby Green, Steve Canelio, there was a lot of us had to do roles at certain points in the season. And I had to tag Dangerfield. And boy, oh boy, was that a long day. That was a long day. That was before he consistently was the best player in the league. That was where he'd flash always how good he was going to be. And I just remember how explosive and powerful he was. And it was something that I was just like, man, I wish I could be like this one day. But yeah, that would probably be the one. Because I remember, again, similar to the Nate Fyfe you just said, he was just so powerful and he just burst away from me at a stoppage, which was just, I just think, wow, this is crazy.
Nah, that's good. Good question. One here from Zakaya. Dunks' favourite Nike Dunks. I've got a few here.
What are they?
These are called...
Yeah, you wear those, don't you?
Yeah, these are called the Fruity Pebbles. These are a new one. These are pretty cool. But I've got, what have I got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 Nike Dunk shoes just sitting next to me.
And are they actually your favourite, or is that because you CBF getting any of...
Nah, they're probably... The colourways are probably my favourite at the moment. I don't mind the off-whites. The Habibis are good too. But yeah, there's a few there. The Paras are actually good too.
You love your shoes.
I'll show you these ones. These ones are nice.
Yep, you love your shoes like I love my NBA jerseys.
Yeah,
they're a bit dirty there. You'd be worried about that.
Oh, I'll get them cleaned up, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, deluxe clean. That's what you'd be doing.
What about the dunks you got me? The grey and white ones.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
All right, next question from Whisper Tommy Wright. I thought it was Whisper Nicky Dacos there for a second.
Yeah, that'd have been cool.
How's Ads liking the mid-time now that Dunks is gone?
I love how that question commonly gets asked when it's not really that different from last year.
It's actually not, it's not because I played probably 50-50 last year.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the only thing that's a little bit different is I tend to couple more centre bounces, but other than that, it's been pretty much the same role. So
yeah,
I can't really answer that question. It's just the same, really.
Next one from Brody Reed. Who can kick further? What would you say your max kick is?
Depends on how the groins are feeling this day and age and the hammies, but at my best, probably on the run, I could probably kick 50, 60 maybe. Probably just 60.
I reckon you'd have me on the run.
Yeah, on the run maybe.
On the run.
Yeah, SETI, nah. Like I got probably just 50 SETI. I'd have to like wrap around and really unleash. But you'd probably beat me. Too. You've got those Andrew Dunkley legs. You beat me with those Andrew Dunkley legs.
Genetics.
Yes, genetics, mate. Gifted. Genetically gifted.
No hard work involved. That's all right. We'll just say that it's all genetics. Oh, no, that's good. That's all I've got, mate.
Is there anything else you want to say before we finish and we hopefully lock up a couple more wins this week?
Nah, mate. I'm all good. All good from my end.
It's been good. Well done. Well, thanks everyone for listening to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast, exclusively brought to you by the Ausmerican Aces, as we've touched on. If you haven't done this already, please subscribe to all Ausmerican Aces channels. Follow all social media accounts so you don't miss a single thing when it comes to mine and Dunks podcast, the Ads and Dunks podcast. Thanks once again for listening. Make sure you tune in, follow us, and thank you very much.